And you're on.
Good morning. Happy Thursday, everyone. I'm here with Karen. I'm so excited to have you here today.
Thank you for asking me to be here.
Yes.
I am honored.
You know, I met her in Kiwanis, and sometimes you meet people and you're just like, that person's going to change my life, and I don't know why. But then I had a few conversations with you and learned so much more, and obviously after today's show, you guys will know why. So welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
She's also an author, which you're going to find out a little bit more about. But let's start just who you are and what you have going on currently.
Well, my name is Karen Dallma, and I am currently a practice manager for my husband's practice, Dr. Dallman. And we are transitioning right now. We actually sold the practice.
They sold the practice.
And we will be retiring next July. So the irony is we opened the practice together on August 1st of 1988.
Wow.
And we are selling the practice. Well, we've sold the practice, and our last day will be July 31st of 2023. So
Wow.
Solid 35 years.
Talk about 35 years of your life. What are you going to do now?
Yeah, what a run.
Probably write another book. So, but I don't know.
Vacation? I mean.
Yeah. Oh, hey, listen, you're talking about the travel queen here. I've lived all over the world as an Army brat as a child. And,
Oh, gosh. I didn't know this.
Yep.
No, I didn't either.
Germany, Africa, Italy,
Wow.
the U.S., all over the United States.
Wow.
And travel is my passion. I've traveled to Bora Bora, hands down. If you ever have a chance to go anywhere in the world, that is the place to go. I've gone twice now.
My daughter would be so excited. This is where she always wants to go.
Write it down,
Yeah.
Christy. Write it down.
Got it. Noted.
We'll be going back, and but just Ecuador was beautiful. Been to the Galapagos Islands.
What?
Wow.
Yeah, and we travel on Karen's budget. It's on my dime, so I tell my husband, no, we're not doing that. We're doing this.
Like, listen, no, we're going
Yeah.
here, not there. Nice try.
We enjoy.
cool.
We'll transition into retirement. I was nervous at first about that. I'm too young to retire, in my opinion, but yet I don't know how too young or too old is. Do you?
Yeah. Do you wait till the last minute and not enjoy it?
No. I've seen too many people pass, especially in the last few years, too young, and I think that we need to embrace our time and our loved ones and spend more time doing the things we enjoy doing. And, life is hard. So,
Life is hard.
Yeah.
When you have your grandkids right now, so it'll be a great time to get to slow life down on the work side and get to do more things
yes.
with them.
Well, I have 4 grandchildren, 2 of which are in Tucson. So I don't get to see them as often. I will now.
Now you will.
Yep. And then my 2 here, I get to see them regularly. I got to take my youngest granddaughter to school today. It was kind of fun. And do her ponytail before we went. I was doing it wrong.
That is not how
Did she
Mom
let you
does
know
it.
that?
Yeah, she did. She did.
Mom, or
Yeah.
Grandma, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah. She's like, Grammy, I like it a little bit more to the side. And I
Oh,
thought,
yeah.
oh, Lord.
This is just too much.
Yeah, here's the brush.
Here's the brush.
So,
Ah, that's wonderful. That's a lot. And 35 years in this community, wow.
yeah. Moved here actually in 1984 with my first husband, Ken Fovargue. And he's was a firefighter, paramedic, and a captain with Bullhead Fire for a lot
Well
of
known in
years.
this town. Yep,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah. And of course was blessed to have a park named after him. He wrote the grant for that park and was able to get the money to then get the park started and get Kiwanis involved and firefighters involved. And
Is he what really kind of got you into the community side of it, or was that kind of in you already?
oh no, it was him. I was the behind the scenes wife. I actually worked 2 jobs and helped raise kids. He was the Parks and Rec commissioner. He was actually first commissioner and head commissioner for 8 or 9 years.
Wow.
And
Which
Little
is
League,
a job in itself.
Yeah. He was Little League coach. He was the soccer coach, and I was just, the mom or the team captain or
Yep.
whatever, and, set up the snacks. And I was the behind the scenes gal. He did Kiwanis as well, and I was the support. And I didn't get involved until probably a year or 2 after he passed.
So let's, for those who may not know a lot about Ken, can we talk a little bit about your guys' story? And
Sure. Sure.
I mean,
And
it's a great
actually,
month, October.
The book actually talks about that. Well, we spent probably about 18 months trying to find out what was wrong with him. He had a couple of things happen. He would fall. He was getting a little weak. He had some muscle wasting, and we went to a couple specialists and stuff, and we finally got diagnosed with ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease.
Wow.
So,
Probably knew a lot less about it then.
yes, that was the irony behind that was one of my first patients I ever helped take care of that was in the nursing home had Lou Gehrig's disease, and she had no family. And all I could think was, what a horrible, horrible disease for anybody to have to. I hope I never have to deal with that. Yeah. So, anyways, needless to say, that was dumped on my plate, and it was about 3.5 years before Ken passed. And if it wasn't for the community just being there, helping us, Kiwanians, I don't know if I would have survived.
Yeah.
So,
You
sorry,
did.
emotional.
No, it is very emotional, even to this day. I mean,
Yeah.
it's been years now.
Yeah, June was his 25th anniversary of his passing, and we've always done something special on the day of his passing, his birthday, and he had always said that if he'd realized life had been so short, he would have eaten more ice cream.
Let's watch the ice cream video. So
Yes.
we actually got to share in that moment with you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much for letting us do that. So basically, every year around that time, they do the ice cream at the Ken Fovargue Park, which is very, very. I mean, you go there, the firemen, the policemen show up, Boys and Girls Club bring the kids. It just was a moment, kind of stopped in time for me. So I can only imagine how that feels for you guys.
And it was a big shout out both to Culver's and to Kona Ice. I contacted both of them and asked for them to come, and I wanted to be able to pay for ice cream for all the kids and invited the Boys and Girls Club. And they were just so generous, and they did such a beautiful job. And those kids, the smile on their faces.
Gosh.
I mean, that was
Some of them were like, "Can I get a second one?" I'm like,
Of
"Hold
course.
on, I'll grab you one."
For me, the fun part was the seniors that were coming out of the pool.
Oh, yeah?
And they were waiting patiently for their ice cream. They
Yeah.
they were like, "I'm
Like, "Hey, we're in."
I want some of that ice cream." you
Yeah.
know?
It was a big hit. It was a big hit. It was really good.
It is
Yeah.
pretty wild to think how busy you get in life. That sometimes just the small moments of enjoying an ice cream cone with your family, or watching a movie, having some popcorn, being on fields, and having people who are so involved in community. There's always a place for us to be.
Absolutely.
So to take these moments where you just slow it down is super important. And obviously what you like to share
Well,
with this.
for me, that park is obviously such a tribute to my family. It's a legacy, and I'm just thrilled to death that, they were able to build the splash pad there.
Yes.
Which the Kiwanis was involved and instrumental, both the morning club and the noon club together, and made that happen. But these were all things Ken had envisioned when he was a Parks and Rec commissioner. He wanted there to be parks for our kids to go and play, and look at us now. We have the soccer fields, we have the football field, we have...
And they're all beautiful.
Oh, absolutely. And then, of course, the recent Boys and Girls Club that is being built on La Turquesa and
Yes.
Aztec.
Yes.
The dedication this weekend, they did the ribbon cutting for the Kaboom Park and the
Playgrounds. Unreal.
Yes, it's just a lot of community service and hours went into making that happen. So you got to give kudos to everybody, and you may not be able to give a lot of time, but give an hour or
Yeah.
something, and the
Every little bit
collaboration
helps.
is huge. So I did get to hear this weekend. We went to dedication of the Christine Stamper Health and Hope homeless.
Yeah, you had a big weekend.
Oh, it was a big weekend. Yeah, it was busy. But we went to the dedication. One of the things that Catholic Charities and the BHHS Legacy Foundation Board from Phoenix came up, that they are blown away by how tightly knit our community is, how everybody, you know, you need something done, you call somebody, and next thing you know, you've got a donation of all the concrete that needed to be poured, or the hours the guys put into that football field. I don't think I had a husband for about 3 or 4 months, because every weekend he was down there with a bunch of the Matadors, Rotary, you know, all the guys, you know. So
I love that you bring up just the different, you know, you hear a lot about Legacy, you hear a lot about Boys and Girls Club, you hear a lot about Kiwanis, but there's so many clubs and so many involved people that go into these big projects.
Yes, it takes, it takes a community to raise a child. And so my thought is it takes a lot of community members to make what we have great. And, you know, if you're ever looking for something to do, find a Kiwanian, find a Rotarian, you know, get involved. Because
Well, and the nice thing is I feel like sometimes people are a little scared to get involved, thinking that they have to give all their time. But the truth of the matter is these groups have been doing this for so long that they're very understanding. You know, if you only have a weekend that you maybe can help, or, you know, sometimes it's money, sometimes it's time. All of that matters. Every little piece, every little person.
Absolutely. And all of the service organizations, like we just had the Corn Fest this past weekend, which I, as a Kiwanian, was not able to donate any time to help my club in that respect, being busy with other
Clubs.
Sorry. And my husband, in support of him and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
But all the money that they raise goes back into this community, goes back into the children, to helping better our community and stuff. So, you know, it's just
I always
phenomenal.
like the Corn Fest because you watch the kid groups kind of come in and they get to take over. You know, I think the choir always does the kids zone, and then you always have the kids who do the haunted house. And so they kind of, you know, take a lot of pride, and they kind of run the show, and they, you know, put a lot of time and a lot of effort into it. And then you get to see the donation that goes back to their clubs.
Absolutely.
And, you know, that they are learning. We get to teach them the importance of showing up, teach them the importance of being part of the community, because then it gets to come full circle.
It's like Autumn Boyle Robinson. She's the director at Boys and Girls Club. And this past weekend, while we were there for the ribbon cutting of the new playground, she made the comment that these children are our future. And what better way to make our future better is to pour into the kids who will be our leaders tomorrow. So.
I'm sure your family has grown up and knows the importance of that, and that comes from the example of you guys. Let's show a few pictures, Jeff.
Okay, you got it.
So this is you and your lovely husband, who you guys will be retiring here shortly.
That was a recent event we went to. It was fun. Murder at the Speakeasy.
Hey, we do a lot of fun things in town.
This was Grandpa's birthday, and that's my daughter and her husband and my grandchildren that live here in town. And we went to a fancy dinner. That's what Grandpa wanted the grandkids to see what it was like to go. So we went to a really nice, everybody dressed up.
Oh, yeah, that's a nice
we,
picture.
We had a good time. That was fun.
It's always nice to kind of get the little ones out and about, and, you know, to experience nicer things that you can't always do, but yeah. So this is Karen's book. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about the book.
So I was part of a program that you'll see on the book. The top picture is a gentleman named Matt Morris. He's a friend of mine for about 12 years or so, and blessed to meet him. What a great guy. But he is the owner of Success Magazine, and he came up with a way to help give back, in his mind, to other entrepreneurs, and he has this program that you have to go through an application process to and an interview to be able to become one of his authors. He had trouble writing a book, so he wants to make it easy for other people to do.
Yeah.
So the program
gives you the tools.
Yeah, you walk through the whole process of his publisher helps you, and then the great gal that sends me all these little emails. Your next step is this. So
that's good.
Yeah, and you have 2 weeks to do it, and I'm like, oh my gosh. So the irony was I didn't feel like I was really ready to do it, but I was like, you know what? All I can do is fail forward. You know, if I'm going to fail, pick myself up and try again. And so I got my chapter written. I'm the lead author in this particular book.
So it's Breakthrough Leadership with Karen Dallma.
So there are other Breakthrough Leadership books, and then it's about them and their story. My story actually is about me stepping up to the plate and becoming involved in the community, and the things I had to do when we found out Ken was terminally ill and that he was going to pass. And once he passed, I was left raising 2 children by myself.
Yeah, the mom that kind of sat back behind and supported him became the supporter.
And got
And of course,
involved.
the community didn't let you just sit there.
No, they didn't. So once they find out you'll help. Oh boy, they suck you in. No, I'm kidding. It's fun. It's so I sat on a few boards. I used to sit on a community health clinic board that was here in town. Unfortunately, they did not survive. I was part of my church on the board there for 8 years or better. I was also in Kiwanis, and not just in Kiwanis. I was a board member, and and I found myself spreading too thin for a while. Had to dial some of it back, and that's okay.
Yeah.
You give the time you can give, and be fine with it. So, it's about me stepping up to plate. Ironically, that's the name of my chapter, Stepping Up to the Plate.
Well, and she had a 10-year-old and a 13-year-old.
Yes, Logan and Kendall were 10 and 13 when their father passed. And
Right in the middle of teenager and sports and community.
And just trying to raise them up without screwing them up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're like, listen, Ken, you put a lot of pressure on me here.
So, and I used to just jokingly tell my kids, if I did or said something that not a proud mom moment, I would hand $1 to them, go put this in that therapy jar. Because if you need therapy later in life, I'm not paying for it. Yeah. Just get over it.
We're going to have to be prepared.
Yeah. And then sometimes I'd be like, hey, you know what? We're going for ice cream for dinner. We're not doing anything. We're just going to go get ice cream. We're going to go sit at the park, and we're just going to, come back to full. Yeah, take a moment and breathe, So, and that's, part of life is just taking those moments and enjoying. So,
having
really
more
cool.
ice cream.
Yes.
Well, and we talked a little bit earlier about Rita Brown, who is just absolutely amazing, as we both know. And that when all that first happened, she gave you the moment. She gave you some time to take a little break, and then was like, okay.
Yeah, she hunted me down in a grocery store. No, I'm kidding.
She's like, we're meant to be here right now.
Yeah, and she said, next Wednesday, you're coming to the meeting, and you are joining. So I didn't, she was my sponsor, and over the years, she mentored me through a lot. And I didn't realize how dynamic of a person she was until her passing. I guess I shouldn't say that, because she actually is one of the ones I asked to do a little testimonial for. So in my book is, in the beginning, there's a few people that did testimonials for me, and she was one of them. And she
was in Kiwanis 20 years, I believe.
Lord, a long time.
Long time.
Probably longer than
Also,
20.
I think one of the first women here
Yes.
locally to join, be able to join as a Kiwanian.
Yep. So in her memory, what I have chosen to do is any proceeds from the book, I'm turning back into and donating to Kiwanis to form a Rita Brown Memorial Scholarship. And I'll be reaching out to the counselors at the schools and have a committee. We're going to come up with parameters for who that one special person is that they will nominate, and we'll go through like a little application process for them to then be blessed with the Rita Brown Memorial Scholarship. I happen to be scholarship chairman for
Yes,
Kiwanis.
you are.
So,
it's a lot of work. It's a lot of pressure.
Yeah, we still do the scholarships. We'll be doing, River Valley like we always have. We've tried to do Malk. We also do Mojave High School, but we welcome scholarship applications from anybody, usually at the beginning of the year. This scholarship's separate than that. This is, I actually found out from my Kiwanis board that they're going to help front the initial cost until I'm able to continue to fund it. And then I'll figure out other fundraisers for us to come up with that. It's going to be a nice sized scholarship.
Well, so a little bit about Rita Brown, Kiwanian for many, many years. She just passed away not too long ago, really unexpectedly.
That was a hard one. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so, one day you see her in the meeting and then the next few days not. So she was also one of those people that you walked into the room and her smile, I was just like, oh, I'm sitting at that table.
Yes, absolutely.
Immediately drawn to her.
Yeah.
Contagious.
Contagious.
She was just, we called her Mother Rita. And a lot of us didn't realize, how important she was to, we all thought we were her one special.
Yeah,
And
she
then,
made you feel like that.
And then come to find out that, you know,
There's a lot of us.
everybody. So I get together regularly with her husband, Bob. He and I do breakfast or lunch occasionally. And I think he's checking up on me, and I think I'm checking up on him just to make sure we're both okay. You know, so, but
She's guiding you.
she is. And he always compliments me on, you know, things Rita reminds me things Rita has says about our past, and I can't even. It just touches my heart.
Yeah,
touches my heart.
I think that you sometimes meet people like Rita to remind you also of the importance of just stopping and having some ice cream and you know, taking the moment. I think the reason why she was probably so important in so many people's lives is because she would sit and listen. You know, the conversation, it didn't feel rushed. It didn't feel like you know, I mean, you could just sit there and enjoy a nice conversation with her.
Absolutely. She just, you know, she was my voice of reason, you know. And I think we spend too much time judging ourselves and judging others. And
so
Rita would bring me back full circle and just kind of remind myself to take a breath. Do one thing at a time, and you're okay. You too will survive this. So, you know, she just was a great lady.
Yeah. Jeff, let's pull up. We have a picture of, let's talk about this picture. You look like a baby in there.
I look like I'm 12. So, me, center, front, bottom. The top on the far left is actually Dr. Dallman when he first moved here to town. So I think he was maybe 29 years old back then.
Get out.
I know that I was 25, and that was our original crew of office staff. That
pretty cool.
Yeah, gosh, crazy.
That
crazy.
is. I mean, 35 years.
Yeah.
Was that what year was this picture taken? Do you know?
That was 1987.
I was going to say that looks like an 80s
hairdo.
hairdo.
Definitely 80s hairdo.
The hairdo. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and Doctor doesn't have hair anymore.
No, I meant the ladies.
Yeah. But some of those. There's two of them in that picture that I'm still in contact with. In the bottom of the picture, the top right. I don't know what she's up to these days, but it was the one on the left bottom that Julie that sent me that picture and said, "Oh my gosh, look at this!"
What I found.
And I thought, oh.
And then this is a great picture.
My grandkids. So that's one of my favorites. That was one of our camping trips we took. We used to take a camping trip every single year around August or September, and with the office staff actually. And my daughter works for us occasionally. She does our bone density tests and stuff. So grandkids were there, and man, they were babies. They're now almost 13 and almost 10. So,
Did you do her ponytail?
no, I did not.
Just wondered.
So the irony behind that is her hair will be out of the ponytail in a hot mess when she gets home.
By
so
this afternoon, it doesn't
matter.
even matter, huh?
That's cute.
Well, it's so nice. So your daughter is here locally,
Yes.
and then her husband is a policeman?
Yes, he's a police officer, and my daughter's like I am. She's giving back to the community.
I was going to say,
she's actually started a new job recently. She moved on from the hospital and was offered a position as a director of radiology for another group. And her big thing is they are thrilled with her community involvement, and she does Little League, Mojave Valley Little League. Oh, speaking of which, we need to mention this.
Let's talk about it.
Mojave Valley Little League is bringing in girls softball. I know.
Genius.
Yay. So they will, it's Little League rules. I didn't realize Little League had softball, but they do for
Well,
girls,
it's so good
obviously.
because if you have if you live in that area and you have a son who plays t-ball and a daughter who plays softball, you have to be at two places at one time, which is just awful.
Yes, believe me,
So
I know.
to bring it to this side, I mean, it's genius.
It is genius.
And they're working on the park down there, getting that.
Yep, they're working on the park, and
Ready for the
Kendall
league.
has been on that board for quite a few years, and they, like I said, they're starting the softball because we are one of those families where, okay, I had the granddaughter because we had softball in Bullhead, and then we had, baseball or football or whatever, and so it's been crazy. But yeah, so excited. So
that is exciting.
and if you're ever bored or looking for something to do, they always need
That's
help in the
another
snack
board.
bar. And
That's another board.
Another board to be on, yes. But they're always looking for help in the snack bar, so which is kind of fun. I enjoy doing that.
When you
cool.
have kids that are down there and are involved, I always say there's two kinds of parents, which I don't judge either. But you have your parents that are there, and then you have your parents that are running crazy, and it will be that set of parents at the football games, the baseball games, the the Kiwanis, all of that good stuff. It just kind of happens that way. But I used to have a girlfriend who would be like, "Don't you get tired of volunteering?" And I would say, honestly, when I'm sitting in those snack bars, I get to meet every parent. I get to meet every child. I get to know who needs a hug, or who my child shouldn't be around, or who my child should be around. So, no, I'm right where I am supposed to be.
And I call it the go-to grandma.
For everyone, I am sure.
Yeah, my daughter will call me and say, "Okay, can you pick up
X,
this
Y, and Z.
grandchild, and by the way, you also have so and so and so and so and so and so, and can you drop them off at their houses?" And and it doesn't matter whether it was like CCD classes or softball or baseball or football or whatever. It's like, "Hey, Mom, can you get the kids, or can you whatever? Oh, by the way, you've got 3 or 4 more kids." Because the parents, they all talk and get together, and okay, who can take the kids? And then all of a sudden, nobody can, and Kendall always goes, "Hey, my mom got 'em.
I got a grandma. Hold on."
Yeah, my mom's got them. So, and she knows I'll drop whatever I'm doing.
I
Yeah.
mean, could you imagine this, 20 years ago, where you're just like, okay, I'm not only involved in all this community stuff, but I'm that person for my grandkids.
I am.
And their
So,
friends.
Yeah, we had great friends after Ken had passed. A quick little story about Kendall was having a particularly rough day at school with some friends, and so I called a very dear friend of mine whose husband had been Ken's best friend. And I was like, "Can you go pick up Kendall from school today?
phoning a friend right now.
Can you please, and just take her for some ice cream?" Again, the ice cream.
Yep.
And they walked into Baskin Robbins at the time when John and Yvonne Morales owned it. And Yvonne knew my kids really well. And in walks our friend John with my daughter. And she's like, "Oh, is this your grandpa?" He wasn't old enough to be a grandpa yet. And so he became Grandpa John from that day on. I know, which is kind of funny.
That was it.
But we called Grandpa John for a lot, and for other kids. "Hey, we're calling Grandpa John." So he became known as Grandpa John to a lot of people. So I like that. Grammy Karen, why not?
That's cool.
Why not?
Nothing
What
wrong with
better
it.
to be, Well, like you said, it takes to be able to have a family and have community involvement with people that you trust and that will show up, that are just a phone call away.
Oh, yeah.
With the loss of a loved one, you need that definitely. But you've built that for them. Your daughter has a tribe and has built her own tribe. And, that comes from example. Really.
I tried.
Yes.
Well, Karen, you have 214 pages in that book that people really need to read, I think. And where would they get a hold of that book if they'd like to get a copy?
Amazon. You
Okay.
can go to Amazon and just Google or type in Breakthrough Leadership with Karen Dallma. Got to put in the name because, like I said, other Breakthrough Leadership books will come up. And, nice little click of button. The book is $9.95. And like I said, any of the proceeds are going to a scholarship, which is going back to one of our community members.
So again, right back into the local.
Yes.
That's really cool.
Well, I
What a story.
appreciate you for coming. I know it's I've been waiting when I first met you in the book. I'm like, okay, you have to come to the show, and you're like, okay, Christy, yeah, I'm coming to the show. And
How many months have
yeah, a few weeks later, I'm like, okay, so really, you're coming to the show.
We finally got her on.
So thank you for coming.
Well, thanks for
Thank
having
you
me.
for being a piece of my puzzle. I sometimes feel like you probably don't even realize how many lives you change.
Oh, thank you.
True.
Thank you.
Yes,
I
yes,
appreciate
yes.
that.
Get the book.
Yes, please.
Yes,
Support.
please support.
Local.
Again, goes back local. Thank you so much, guys. Have a good day. Thank you for watching. Show up.
We'll see you next Tuesday.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.